There's a saying about snitches that I'm not going to say on the radio because I'll get in trouble. But does everyone kind of know this?
I think so.
They get, I'll say it's stitches. Because you're not supposed to be a snitch. And yet, a new Democrat bill, Senate Bill 5179, just cleared the chamber, would create a new complaint process allowing students, parents, and anyone in a community to report schools for willful noncompliance with state education laws. Now, why did they push this? Let's be clear. There are some schools and some districts in Washington that are not, the technical term is insane. And when it comes to some of the gender identity nonsense, they're going to completely ignore Chris Reichel, the superintendent of public instruction. And pretty much everyone in the school is okay with it, except for that one parent. You know exactly who she is. Every district has it.
Her name may or may not be Karen.
Maybe not, but it's always Karen. And she wants to be able to report you, snitch on you, while also maintaining some level of anonymity so you don't blame her, even though it's quite obvious who was the one who did it. Sometimes, though, you might get a school that's maybe smaller and everyone there is fine without any of the gender identity nonsense or the BLM garbage, but there's a community member or someone who doesn't even live there but knows someone who does and finds out. They want to be able to snitch. And so now they get this line. Now, Claire Wilson, the state senator from Auburn, says that the snitch line will simply protect anonymity of students and parents just trying to do the right thing.
Students and families should never be made to feel like they're at risk of retribution.
I mean, never, ever. Isn't there some times where it's reasonable to fear the risk of retribution?
I mean, at a certain point.
Right? I mean, I'm not suggesting you do that, but sometimes you do something that people resent.
For demanding that their schools follow the law. And when school districts fall short, the state oftentimes needs to step in to ensure that children are protected and that rules, not ideology, is followed.
Of course, let's be clear, the rules that are not being followed were only created because of ideology, which is what these schools are trying to protect kids from. Everyone knows that. Now, they're pretending that this has to do with civil rights or bullying prevention. No. It's true, I think, that it has something to do with curriculum requirements because, again, not every single school in this state wants to push the ideological agenda coming from people like Claire Wilson. And once this complaint gets submitted, then the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, they do the investigation. They can impose penalties, including withholding up to 20% of a district's state funding, which is odd because y'all say that schools, they're not getting enough funding, and now you're willing to pull 20% because they don't do something you want them to do? Isn't that just hurting the kids? It's not hurting the superintendent, or the principal of a school, or I guess the superintendent of a district. You're just hurting the kids. Here's GOP Senator Jim McCune.
Bills like this are socialism. There's no doubt about it. We're putting a strong arm on schools that don't want to teach the horrible sex ed bill they have in the state of Washington. And they don't want to teach gender ideology. They don't want to teach DEI. And you're going to force it on them, and you're going to have a snitch line for them.
Yeah, he's right. It's really that simple. Democrats love to snitch. Remember the snitch line when it came to the COVID mask rules? It was the mayor of maybe Mukilteo at the time. Google this. My name.
I remember Tim Walz definitely had one in Minnesota.
He did. It was Gregerson. Am I making that up? Just Google my name, snitch line mayor. And the state had set something up, Democrats had set something up so you can snitch on businesses that aren't following the mask mandate. And there was a mayor of a Snohomish County city.
Yeah, Mukilteo Mayor Jennifer Gregerson.
Oh, there you go. Jennifer Gregerson snitched on, it was like an animal a grooming company, I think. And I guess one of the employees wasn't wearing a mask, or the business said, you don't have to wear a mask. Don't worry. We're not going to fall into this garbage. And she reported them.
Yeah, conducting animal grooming in addition to pet sitting services.
I got a great memory, man. I got a great
Well, you
memory.
wrote it, so.
Yeah, well, how long ago did I write that?
This was May of 2020.
Yeah, okay. That's a long time. That's 5 years ago.
It's kind of wild. That's crazy that was 5 years ago.
I know. It feels still like it just happened.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe it's because we're all traumatized by this story of the snitches. There was a time where we were encouraging people to call on their neighbors for having, family members over for dinner. Ugh. Why is it that Democrats love it? It's not so much that they like the snitching. They like the fact that it's the government that will enforce the law and come down hard on you. Now, of course, they don't like it when law enforcement does that because they hate cops, but they love it when it's the bureaucracy that can come in and punish. Except, of course, when it's the bureaucracy coming from the federal government punishing you for having a sanctuary policy, then that's evil and wrong, immoral. You can't do that. But when it's the Democrats doing it with their bureaucracy, then it's okay. Yet another really stupid bill that undoubtedly will become law. And the only thing you can count on to stop something like this, honestly, and again, I'm not promoting this as an idea. However, if I were to try to get involved here, I would just file a bunch of frivolous complaints and just waste their time, and they wouldn't be able to do anything about it.